The 6-5 is on the road with View of Davos. We are here at the World Economic Forum talking about this configuration of finance, tech, government, and regulation. Dan, good week so far.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the coming together, we're at a major inflection today, the inauguration of the 47th different president, right? It's the numbers always confuse me because, you know, we've had the ones and twos, but I think one of the only times in history where we've had one take a break and then come back in short order. But I mean, all this means different things to everybody here. It changes kind of the tone, the tenor of what's going on. Like you said, we're going to be thinking more about regulation. Of course, AI is in big focus right now. And we're seeing some changes in terms of how companies are thinking about things like DEI now. We're seeing changes in terms of how companies are thinking about sustainability, and AI has brought that back into the picture, but in a totally different way.
That's right, and I can't imagine a better guest to have on to talk about the intersection between AI and regulation. Welcome, Matthew, to the 6-5.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, probably a good place to start is just maybe talk a little bit about what you do, and maybe also love to hear about what you want to achieve here at the show.
Absolutely. So my day job is as the co-chair of the M&A practice at Fox Rothschild. It's a 30-office law firm, Am Law 100 in the United States. And in that role, I'm constantly advising boards of directors and startup companies and private equity funds on changes in regulation, corporate compliance, things like that. AI is obviously a major impact on all of that advising that we're doing.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a really, like you heard me kind of in the setup here. I mean, I want to unpack that a little bit. Today's the day, right? We know that there's a few jets that haven't landed in Davos yet because they're at the inauguration, but you know, many are going to show up in the next few days. I think there's a lot of interest, going to be a lot of sessions in the Congress all about AI regulation, and of course, what does it mean for sort of the business climate? You know, what is some of your, you know, I know you don't give free advice, no lawyer ever does, but in your world, like, what's that kind of big, you know, overarching perspective that you're giving to your clients right now?
Well, companies are constantly looking for ways to integrate AI into their everyday solutions and to their big macro decision making, right? The kind of advising that companies are looking for. Oh, and an interesting statistic published in a paper that I just completed with the American Bar Association. Thank you. Is that 66% of companies of general counsels polled expect lawyers to implement AI in their applications and advising companies, but only 33% of those companies want AI used on their clients. And so there's this constant tension in the market between looking for efficiencies, looking for technical innovation, but also being cautious of the technology and the kinds of outputs that it can create.
Hey, can you help our audience? I mean, AI is unique in that, first of all, it covers consumer, enterprise, government.
Yep.
And it strikes through so many data sharing, as an example. The whole regulation, let's say, about how you're using it. How have you broken down or segmented AI regulation? And maybe it's in your paper.
Yeah. So there are layers of that, exactly as you're describing. And from a lawyer's perspective, you're looking at kind of a global platform, a dialogue, a commercial impact, but then you're also looking at federal, within the United States, federal regulations, state regulations, ethical rules, bars, and all of these things are untested arenas, right? Everybody knows, like I was saying before, that they have to implement, but nobody really knows the intersection. And there's pressure for adoption, but at the same time, there's caution because nobody really knows what the outcome. Where's your data going to go? Who's going to be able to use it? Right. What critical secrets or proprietary information is accidentally going to get shared with who? Right. And a lot of that is covered in my paper, actually.
Well, we all love the dry academic experience of writing research. We do it, that's what we do too. No, it's actually a really important thing, but you know, we've actually just spent a bunch of time working on one of the largest surveys of its kind on CEOs and AI deployment. We talked to 213 CEOs spending with more than $1 billion a year of turnover.
Wow.
And we asked them about kind of how they're thinking about AI. And so governance, compliance is a big part of that. But one of the things I want to ask you is, I know you lead, I think, the private equity venture capital board or advisory board for the American Bar Association.
Correct, yeah.
You know, that means you must be advising a lot of big company CEOs and M&A leaders.
Yep.
And also probably talking to a lot of exciting growth companies. How are you sort of, you know, bridging that for them right now in terms of how to think about implementing AI successfully and in compliance.
So, I'm gonna really attempt not to be too lawyerly about it, but since you guys wanted a little bit of free advice, I'm willing to give it.
All right. Hold on, let me get my phone out. No, just kidding.
Start your clocks.
Oh wait, we got a recording. We got that guy. He's recording it.
At the end of the day, what we're talking about, from the perspective that I'm advising, is meeting your fiduciary duties, right? And if anybody is paying attention to what's going on in the dialogues that are critical to everyone, right? What Mark Zuckerberg is thinking about this, what Elon Musk is thinking about this, they're still challenged to basically make decisions, informed decisions, to discharge their fiduciary duties to their shareholders, to their boards of directors. And so, the complication comes from part of discharging those fiduciary duties is that you have a duty to kind of engage, and lawyers have this too, engage technologies, use state of the art, think about things in a critical way that represent kind of, what's going on right now, use all the tools available. At the same time, you can't outsource these decisions to computers, right? And, there are all of the same functions that are critical of AI in general are in play in this arena. Hallucinations, self-enforcing data, where you get bad data, garbage in, garbage out. And so it's a completely untested world. You're going to start seeing case law on this in the next couple of years. And, in the meantime, we have to do the best we can to advise our clients on these issues.
Yeah, as we wrap here, I want to ask you one final question. So there's amplitude and there's frequency, right? And I like to look at different industry events. I feel like we've got big amplitude and frequency. Looking back on your career and what you do, have you ever seen this type of thing before? I mean, did you see this, let's say, in the cloud or local mobile social?
You've seen kind of waves, and I've been a practicing lawyer for 17 years. When I started, it was really kind of the inception of the internet in a meaningful way, and kind of global e-commerce and things like that. I was talking to a gentleman inside. I was a research analyst at Harvard Business School in 2005, so I had one of the first 1,000 Facebook accounts because I had an HBS EDU, right? There have been little spikes since that. Maybe you look at crypto, or maybe you look at, kind of other areas of technology. But I don't think you've seen anything as grand and sweeping as AI. Right. And I think that's going to really define the next generation of issues.
I'm dying to ask him about the Trump coin, but I'm going to avoid it right now. And just overall, the whole, what's going to happen with crypto? Gensler's out, and now we have no regulation, and we're seeing these crazy pumps. What did I say? Something that was like, you could have made more in 36 hours than 54 years of investing in the S&P 500, and it's just like, that can't be normal.
So if you're walking around Davos today and you don't have a picture of what you bought at and what you sold at, then you're not on the in crowd.
That's not a mindset.
Is that happening?
I've seen like 5 people do it already since I got
it. I need to amend my badge. It would be 0 and 0. So.
I didn't participate.
I don't talk my book a lot, but I bought the stable stuff, Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum. All right, Matt, thanks so much. Really appreciate you spending some time with us.
Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in, being part of the 6-5 on the road. It's a view from Davos, and we're getting a lot of viewpoints. It's been a great day so far. Stick with us, subscribe, be part of our community. We appreciate you for tuning in. We'll see you all later.